Welcome back. This is Area Forge Gamecast episode 13. I'm your host as always, Preston Blake, and with me as always, my fellow guardian, Steve. Thanks for joining. And I'm not gonna go over the same lines I was went over before, like it's been a while, whatever. It's been a while, and in that time frame, a lot of games have came out. We haven't discussed any of those games yet this year, and I'm looking forward to jumping into that now, as well as the games that's coming out for the rest of the year. It's a lot has been going on this year in the gaming industry, like every year. Xbox just finalizing the win with Sony and FTC is no longer a rumor. It's out there in public. Sony had a chance to actually take the deal that Microsoft was giving them for Call of Duty and other other Activision titles for the next 10 years. And now, since the deal is up, all Sony has is Call of Duty for the next 10 years. So, yeah. I just wanted to put that out there because I'm not going to discuss that I'm not going to discuss that news at all for the remaining of the show. But I think that's actually more important to know now for the shift in the console space, in the console war, quote unquote, even though I don't really care for the war itself. It's just something to know. So you're gonna see a lot more Game Pass games from Blizzard in the near future. Don't know when, but pretty soon. And Call of Duty is the only Activision game at this point of time that's gonna be on the Sony consoles for the next 10 years, supposedly. But again, you can look it up yourself in more fine detail as to what happened. And yeah, so on and so forth. But let's get into what we actually wanted to discuss today. Was pretty much what we played so far in 2023, how our year has been, based on what came out so far and what we're excited for later on in the year, pretty much, when it comes to whether it's exclusives or not. It doesn't look like there's a lot of exclusives coming out for the rest of the year from Sony, neither from Microsoft as well, but it's a lot of third-party games that is coming out that I am really excited for, and we will further discuss later in the show. But for now, let's get caught up on what we've played so far, and obviously I'm not going to name everything I played because I can't remember everything, but the stuff that stuck with me and Steve for the past year so far, and what we're moving on and looking forward and excited playing next. Steve?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining again. I want to ask, exactly how hype are you for Starfield? No, it's a joke. That's later. I'm not going to get into that. That'll take the rest of the show away. But no, for now, but yeah, what games have you been playing? What games have you played so far that stuck with you so far throughout the year? And what is your game of the year so far as well? So far for the year. It's a two-part question.
So a lot of the beginning of my year was filled up with Destiny Lightfall. So I sort of have like a 3-month period of just that's all that was. And as far as some other notable games, obviously, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and I also just recently finished Final Fantasy 16.
Okay.
As far as Game of the Year contender for me, it's going to Final Fantasy 16. Not to say, like, the way I view, say, Tears of the Kingdom is sort of like how last year with the comparison with God of War, Ragnarok, and Elden Ring. Tears of the Kingdom is a very feels very much so like Elden Ring in the sense of not gameplay, obviously, but style of game, right? And God of War Ragnarok feels a lot more like Jedi Survivor and Final Fantasy 16. There's much more emphasis on deep storytelling and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm more of a fan as far as in gaming, as far as like I really like a good story, with like cutscenes, and it's very fleshed out and very character focused and driven.
Yeah.
So, that's why I lean more heavily towards Star Wars or Final Fantasy as a game of the year contender. Not to say that Tears of the Kingdom was a bad game; it was a phenomenal game. But for me personally, it's not something that would stand out in that sense for me. But so it was really more so a fight between Jedi Survivor and Final Fantasy 16, and I think at the end of the day, Final Fantasy 16 won that out for me. Yeah, gotta get one of those myself too.
No, I hear you, and I haven't beaten half of the games you mentioned, and you didn't even mention a lot. You mentioned like 3 or 4 games, and I've only
Yeah.
beaten one, and that's Star Wars. I'm still on Final Fantasy. I am closing in somewhere near probably I think from what you told me 60-70% in or so, but I'm enjoying the game so far. I have my gripes, but we'll get into that further a little on later on. Now you did say something about the Breath of the Wild not being in the competition, if I'm getting that correct, between Star Wars and Final Fantasy, based on your take on liking, I guess, based on you favoring more story driven games than open world games, obviously. Now last year it was between correct me if I'm wrong, it was between Elden Ring and God of War, or was it another game between God of War for you?
There wasn't really a contest for me. It was just God of War.
Okay,
for
but what
me,
was the
like,
runner-up last year for you, if you remember off the top of your head, I guess?
I was too enamored with God of War to even really have something as a runner-up like that.
Okay.
You know how crazy I got with that, man. I
Yeah.
was super hyped, and
I asked that question because I think there's I think there's a valid correlation between your comparison between last year and this year. And the thing is, so far, we're in the middle of summer and we're reaching fall pretty soon, a month from now, and we have 3 games in the beginning of this year. I think that from what you mentioned, that are game of the year competitors compared to 2, which was last year, at least from the top of our heads. I know Elden Ring and God of War is pretty much the talk of the year no matter what, but there was also Forza. I'm so sorry. Not Forza. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Forbidden
Yes. Yeah. I started the prequel.
Forbidden West, yeah.
Yeah. Forbidden West. That was overshadowed by Elden Ring, which was an open world game that was compared to the year before, a couple years before, when Breath of the Wild first came out and the first Horizon Zero Dawn came out. So I'm saying all that to say this year is interesting because we have Breath of the Wild, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Survivor, and I'm about to say God of War, and Final Fantasy 16 so far. And 2 out of 3 of those games are not open world. Am I getting that correct? Breath of the Wild is the only one that's open world, right?
Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, it's 2 of those are not open world. They're open. I don't count those as open world. Those are hub based games. Yeah. So they have little, just like Final Fantasy, you can go around the hub based world that they have, but it's not truly open like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom.
I mean, I can note that Jedi Survivor felt more of like an open world, even though it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It captured that feeling better than Final Fantasy does.
Oh yeah, it's more open than Final Fantasy, but my point is that they're both more story driven than Tears of the Kingdom is when it comes to cutscenes back to back. So it's still more linear based on the story side than than compared to Tears of the Kingdom is my point. So I find that interesting because now I think that gave Tears of the Kingdom a handicap in this race so far, because we already experienced so much open world before, and Breath of the Wild, hence the name Breath, gave us a fresher breath in the open world space. But now that we have that already, and we've played that, and then Elden Ring, in my opinion, did it even better. I think that served a huge handicap for Tears of the Kingdom. And I haven't beaten Tears of the Kingdom. I played the very beginning, but I've seen a lot of videos on it. But regardless, no matter how much of a great game it is by itself, I think because of the genre it's fitting in now, I sense that there's fatigue within that genre that made this race handicap for that game alone. Doesn't mean that I'm saying that the game is nowhere near as like, oh, it's a little more dull or not as good as Breath of the Wild. Obviously, it's not. I'm not saying that. That'll be backwards, because I think Tears of the Kingdom might be, from what I heard, even better than Breath of the Wild, obviously. And according to you, you told me that the story is a bit better as well, pacing wise. But I don't think that takes away from the actual the handicap that this horse has in the race, because of it being another open world game and letting you do whatever you want to do within that world, of course, even though there's a bunch of surprises and whatnot. Would you agree? I know I said a lot there, but I think that breakdown makes sense from what I'm gathering from you, at least.
Yeah, I would say that, games are oversaturated with open world types of genre and whatnot. And by the end of my playthrough of Tears of the Kingdom, like, I definitely was feeling that open world fatigue. I don't know if I could say the same for like other gamers and whatnot. The Tears of the Kingdom was an absolute improvement upon like Breath of the Wild. I don't know, these guys are like, those devs are masterclass in what they do, and they I mean, it was a serious improvement, like to the point where like I wouldn't even feel like I would be having fun replaying Breath of the Wild. Like, that's how much better they did with Tears of the Kingdom, so that says a lot. And I do think like for game of the year, like, I think Tears of the Kingdom like has that award. Like, that's it. It doesn't matter what else comes out. Like, I think just it was the same thing with Elden Ring last year, where it was such a phenomenon that it came out at the beginning of the year, and there was memes even in December. The same thing. I mean, I still see Korok crucifixion on TikTok and stuff. So like,
yeah,
I'm still seeing that even now with Tears of the Kingdom. So I have a feeling, if we're making predictions, that Tears of the Kingdom is probably going to win Game of the Year, just like how Elden Ring won last year.
Well, yeah, we'll see. It's early so far, and I think from what the games that we've seen so far, I also think Tears of the Kingdom is going to win based off of popularity. Because I don't think, as much as I like Star Wars, which is the only game I've beaten so far as the bigger games this year, and it is my game of the year so far still, even though mostly through Final Fantasy. Star Wars and Final Fantasy is not, I guess by the popular vote, is not beating Tears of the Kingdom in my opinion. Just based off of the popular vote. But so far, we're off to a really great start in this year with these games. Not compared to the performance ports that we've been getting, the PC ports for Star Wars, which was one hell of a controversy in itself when it came out. But very, very mixed reports on that too. But and the and the PS5 performance on Final Fantasy, which is stirred up online as well, with the performance mode being really, really trash in my opinion. But yeah, those two alone, even without the performance ports and whatnot, I think without the performance issues, I think Tears of the Kingdom still would have overtaken those two, based on popular vote for the past couple years, what people are more drawn into these days. And Tears of the Kingdom did not come off as a buggy mess in any type of way online that I've heard, at least, and any performance issues as well. As I haven't heard any performance issues since it came out as well. So, given that the game is already a really very well made game, on top of the legacy it carried and the shoes that had to fill for Breath of the Wild, and it succeeded in that, by many people online. I think that no matter what Star Wars and Final Fantasy did to their games, Tears of the Kingdom still would have taken that over. But personally, again, Star Wars Jedi Survivor for me, and I have Tears of the Kingdom and Final. And no disrespect to the final, no disrespect to the Fire Emblem Engage audience out there, because I know that game really blew up in a popular way, and I'm pretty sure it's some people's game of the year as well so far. But we're talking about games that's in that popular space when it comes to majority of the audience, the gaming audience online, and what they're into. I do have Fire Emblem Engage, and I'm afraid to start it anytime soon, since I don't want to half-ass that game in any type of way, since I'm on other RPGs. And I didn't even bring up Street Fighter. I think this year for this year in general for fighting games is gonna be huge, because we got the main 3 coming out this year so far. Street Fighter came out, Tekken is coming out this year supposedly, and we have Mortal Kombat 1, pretty much a reboot of the franchise in a way, even though they're still continuing from 12, which is cool still. Enjoyed Mortal Kombat 12 a lot, and I am looking forward to this one. And I'm looking forward to Tekken as well, and any other big fighting games that may have not been announced this year yet, but I'm pretty sure there's more like anime-esque games coming out in the fighting genre. I don't know if there's another Guilty Gear or not, but yeah, so far this year is looking great for fighting games, release-wise, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the main fighting games that's coming out.
So they got to start competing with Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I mean, from what I hear, that's been a reigning champion of fighting games for a few years now.
Really? I haven't really heard much from that part. I know Street Fighter 6 is like very well respected in the gaming space right now when it comes to popularity. People is playing it, and it's crossplay on all 3 platforms: PC, Xbox, and PS5, which is a great thing to come out with on day one, unlike other titles that have you wait until it's not relevant no more. Warframe. But I do enjoy Street Fighter a lot, and I still haven't finished the World Tour mode. I'm a casual fighting game fan, not in any means necessary good online. I have not yet won one online match. I got my kicked many times that I tried, but it doesn't stop me from playing, because I still enjoy learning the game. So it has a lot to offer in the game compared to 5 when it first came out, and it was like bare bones with the features and modes. So yeah, enough about that. Moving on. So we covered the games that we already played so far and what's our game of the year so far. Let's run down. Do you have anything else to add to that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to speak on Diablo 4 real quick.
Holy crap. You see, this is way too much games is out right now, and it's too much games to think about. But yeah, Diablo 4 is another one that I'm actually playing too, and that's a great start so far for Blizzard. But go on.
Right. I haven't picked up the game yet. I've been wanting to, and I was getting some excitement for it. And then, I'm sure, as you know, the new season came out for Diablo 4,
Mm-hmm.
and they made a bunch of changes that the community is like not down for at all. Apparently, a lot of things got nerfed. like experience from beating monsters, like just overall damage nerfs and class nerfs, and like
Is this end
it's like
game stuff, or did they touch anything in the vanilla story?
no, this is just, I think it's across the whole game.
The whole
It's like,
game?
yeah, just damage nerfs, critical hit nerfs, like just
I haven't heard
any
of
type
that.
of like modifier. Yeah, it's like uh it was in their season patch update, what all the changes that they made to gameplay, and a lot of people are not thrilled about it. And I caught a few like short videos on it, and when I first saw it, I was already like immediately deterred, because for me, it's like, I've seen videos of how much fun people were having before this patch,
Yeah.
and that was fueling my excitement. I was like, you know what, maybe I will just like drop the $70. Let me just get this game. And then I saw that, and it like took the wind out of my sails. I was like, so you're telling me like everyone who was playing when the game first came out had it easy, and now I would have to work 10 times as hard just to even catch up, on top of not even really having fun because they nerfed all the damage. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like that. It's like, I'm like, that don't sit well with me. Maybe they'll change something, but people keep on complaining, and I haven't heard anything else on that front.
I
Um,
haven't. I heard some things, but I didn't know that they nerfed so much to the main game itself, the vanilla game. I'd heard about the monetization starting to creep up a bit, and I'm guessing that makes sense if they nerfed a lot of things to make it harder to get. And I was crossing my fingers, sad to say, before when this game came out, because I noticed the history of game companies in general, not just Blizzard, Activision, anywhere, but live service games in general that's online. I know the history that they may come out either really good or really bad. But if it's really good, there's a chance that it's something they may change. They may make changes later, obviously, since it is an only online game, to for their own benefit, their own greedy benefits, and that's what I was crossing my fingers at and hoping they don't do, which it seems like they did anyways. And that's why I'm not surprised. I haven't hopped on Diablo since Final Fantasy came out, so I don't notice any changes as of yet since I haven't gone on, but hopefully I don't feel it. As much as you explained so far as the nerfing part goes, I haven't done
yeah,
any end game stuff, obviously, since I haven't beaten the game, but I am level 23, 24 where I left off at, and I was fine with the way things were so far, and I felt the progression pretty good fast too, as well as doing all the dungeons and stuff. Did they
um,
touch? So they touch World Tier 2? Because that's what I'm playing on.
no, that's unchanged,
Good,
but it's
because
still
that's the
plus
mode I'm
three.
playing on. Okay, so it's for the
Okay.
hardcore Diablo fans out there that's feeling the wrath right now due to the changes. So that sucks regardless, but yeah, again, I'm not surprised. I was hoping they wouldn't do anything that they didn't need to if the game didn't need any changes, but obviously they're doing it for their own benefit so they can start creeping up those microtransactions. Even though the microtransactions I've seen was all cosmetic so far, don't know if there's any loot that they're selling that actually changes the game for you besides cosmetics. But I don't know too much in that area just yet, so I'm not going to speak on that. But yeah, I don't know. They could implement microtransactions that changes the way you play down the line. Who the hell knows? It's the only online game, and that's one of the frustrations that people deal with, and they're concerned when they hear that the game is coming out only online, such as the DC game that they pushed back a whole year because people were dissatisfied with it, and that was a Suicide Squad game. So from the people that made the Arkham games, Rockstar. I say Rocksteady, sorry, Studios. So,
Mm.
and that was supposed to be an only online game as well, no offline mode. So, yeah, it's cracking down a lot faster because people are complaining a lot more. Sad to say, it is a gift and a curse to that power, and I'm neither thrilled with both sides. But if I guess I guess for this occasion, when it comes to Blizzard side, they do need to hear a lot. I guess, for lack of better terms, they do need to hear a lot of criticism on their end because they already have a big history with unpromised modes like the Overwatch 2 co-op that they announced, and now that's pretty much not coming. It's not being delivered. It's just going to be a single player mode with no benefits as far as loot, supposedly. No, well, leveling at least. So it's a one-time, one-and-done situation as far as we know, and that sucks. And all the stuff they did with Diablo 3 when it came out, so they have a history of this stuff already. And I think they do need to hear the most criticism out of a lot of gaming companies out there, next to EA, with their sports games and stuff. So yeah, but at the end of the day, that really does suck. But thankfully, at least personally for me, I'm not going to be affected by that because I'm not that into Diablo to be playing World Tier 3 or 4. But hopefully by the time if I ever get to that point after I beat the game and I want to up the tier, hopefully it's changed again for the better. But we'll see. But thanks for bringing that up. I completely missed Diablo 3 out of the games I've named so far. But we have spoken quite a bit about the games that's been out so far. Let's talk about the games that's coming out. And I'm not going to name down all 44 of IGN's most anticipated games this year. You're going to skip past the ones that came out. And Hogwarts Legacy was another big game. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
And
Same.
I haven't beaten that yet due to distractions. But I am very, very interested in beating that game sooner than later. And I'm definitely jumping back on when I get the chance after I'm in the mood again, I guess. I do like the game a lot so far. And I've played a considerable amount of hours, at least for me. I think over 20 or 30 hours. I forgot how much I put on Steam. But yeah, I'm very, very interested in seeing that game through. What do we have? We have, all right after Final Fantasy, we have Hollow Knight, Silk Song. Not much of a fan of that. Homeworld 3, Skull and Bones, rest in peace. And that's one title, by the way. Pikmin 4. Not really a big Pikmin fan. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Expanse. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can stop me whenever.
Baldur's Gate 3.
I'm going in the order. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is here.
That's like the beginning of August.
Oh, okay. So this is not on the list because the game is already out then. That's why. That makes sense.
Okay.
The early access is out. The first arc.
Okay, yeah.
The remaining of the rest of the game is coming out beginning of August. I'm sorry. But yeah, you can stop me anytime if it's a game that you are interested in. If you have some input on it. The Expanse, I'm really looking forward to. That's a Telltale series next game. Based in space. So a slimmed down version of what I've seen so far, Mass Effect, in a way, when it comes to narrative at least. But we'll see how that turns out. Starfield, I'm gonna leave it there. The day before, that is, forget about the day before, guys. We're never seeing that game. I got pushed back into oblivion, so we don't know what's the status on that.
It got pushed back into the day before.
Yep. It's never the day before. Exactly. It's stuck in limbo, guys. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please look it up. It's a very interesting scam of a story, but we'll see. We don't know. Nothing is complete facts yet, but you can have your own opinions on that. Alan Wake 2 coming out in October. I'm very, very interested in. because I am a huge Alan Wake fan of the first one. And Control, which is all in the same universe, thanks to Control confirming it. But that is coming out in October, rightfully so, near Halloween. Arc 2, don't know when the hell that's coming out, even though it does say 2023 release window, but no official date. And they've been receiving backlash on that game too, for the reasons I can't remember for, based on what they announced. I think that's a full price game, even though it's not a complete. I forgot. Anyways, it's something with the pricing. It's the reason why they're in a bad state right now. Not because of Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel's always in a great state. Don't get it twisted. Armored Core 6. Exactly. Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. Huge title I'm anticipating this year as well. As a fan of the original 3 Armored Core games I played back in the PS2 and PS3. And it's from Software's game, of course. So this is after Elden Ring, and this is a huge change to go back to their roots where they started from, at least from where I know them from, which is the Armored Core series. It is not a Souls game in any type of way, and it's still, from the gameplay, from what they show, looks great. And looking forward to it. And because they learned a lot of things in the Souls series, since they have many new talent in the studios, I'm pretty sure, and many new I guess different point of views on how a game should be made today compared to back then, thanks to Elden Ring. Assassin's Creed Mirage, it's a nice dinner with some wine. Nothing much to add to that, at least for me. Don't know about you, Steve, but this is definitely a callback to the original Assassin's Creed games. It's not an open world Valhalla, or should I say, well, how did the guy say it? Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's what he said. That's right. Anyways, if I remembered, that joke would have been a lot better. Moving on. Yeah, it looks pretty. It looks like the Aladdin Assassin's Creed game that I've been waiting for. Hades 2. I haven't played Hades 1 like that, even though I own it into the 2 different systems. But yeah, I know that the game is gonna speak volumes for a lot of Hades fans out there. Hades actually, I'm pretty sure, bring a lot of people into the roguelike genre that was brand new to it. Since it was most popular roguelike.
Does it say when Hades 2 is releasing? Do they come out with a release date?
Nope. It just says 2023. So it's early access actually is coming out this year, but they don't have a certain date. And the reason why I'm not saying the dates, because anything is subject to change. And a lot of these dates are just saying 2023 window. But yeah, Forza Motorsport. I'm about to say 4. Forza Motorsport, and I was about to say 4 because they did recently talk about it going back to the how 4 was made, which was, I think, the last really good one that they made before they jumped to 5. And I am a little excited for it, for a Forza Motorsport game. We'll see how they do, and that's another big exclusive that Microsoft is coming out with this year. No sign of Gears anywhere, but we won't talk about that. Liza P, I am very hyped for, and I would have been very hyped for. I would have been more hyped for it if it wasn't coming out literally 2 weeks after Starfield. So Liza P is dead in the water for a couple months until I get Starfield at least done, which is probably never going to happen. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is coming out, and that is coming out near fall in October as well. Rightfully so, near Halloween, because our big villain is Venom and Kraven now. So that is a big Sony title, and everybody's going to be playing.
This year?
Yeah, it's October.
Damn.
October 11th, if I'm not mistaken.
There's a lot coming out this year. Still,
yes.
I thought there was already a lot coming out before.
In the beginning of the video, you might keep in mind, I said there's a lot. There's not too many exclusives coming out this year. There's a lot of exciting third parties coming out though. Payday 3, loved Payday 2, but it looks like the same thing. And not even graphic wise, it's not that big of a difference. Stalker 2, for all old school Stalker fans, good for you. Suicide Squad is not should it be on this list anymore? I don't think they're coming out. Yeah, they pushed it a year back. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Interesting game. Space Marine 1 was pretty good when I played on 360 back in the days. And that's pretty much it. There's a lot more they just put on the list. Exo Primal just came out. I know that's a game that I didn't talk about, but so far so good. I don't see that game lasting that long. It's because it's only a multiplayer game, and not that the multiplayer feels like you're being forced into losing a lot because of your skills. It's really a very easy game to jump into and stay on. But the player count is what makes that game live or die, and that's the only reason why I think it's not going to last that long, because I don't think the players is going to have enough to stay on unless they come out with a bunch of content sooner than later, because you can easily roll through that whole game in 20-30 hours and beat the main story and play the same modes over and over. So yeah, not that it's a bad game. It's not worth 60 to me, but it's not a bad game. It's a very good Game Pass game. I'm gonna say that. So you don't have to pay for it if you have Game Pass, or if you don't get Game Pass, because Starfield's coming out in a month. But this mic just wants to go down. Okay, whatever. Anyways, that's the rest of the year. Now, do you have anything to say before I get to the main game I want to talk about this podcast? No? Okay,
No,
I'm moving on. No, I'm playing.
I could feel your excitement.
Oh yeah,
the screen.
Yeah.
Start. But
but
no, let's get into Starfield.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
Star Citizen. Star Citizen is a game that is never going to be done, and I am still playing like an idiot. But guess what? Starfield is going to hopefully bring that copium down a little bit and ease me back into an actual finished game, whether it's buggy or not. Hopefully not too buggy. I am hugely excited for this game. I watched the whole 45-minute conference, and I'll let you go. So, because I know when I start talking about this, it's gonna go on. But so far, from what you've seen, what are your feelings on this game now that you've seen the footage of the showcase?
I still have my expectations tempered.
Good for you.
I'm not super hype on this, and I think that's just because of Bethesda's track record with how they handle games. And I mean, look, the game looks great. It looks like the best thing they've ever even put out as far as graphical fidelity, which is great. That checks something off my list.
Okay.
There's a lot more going on than I thought. I didn't know there was going to be like base building. I didn't know there was going to be like pirating other people's ships or if other NPC ships or whatever it is, like pirating. Even customizing your ships to the point where they don't even look like ships anymore. I didn't think it was going to be that in detailed and in depth. So there's a lot of game here that I sort of like, like I didn't think like, okay, I'll play Starfield for 40 hours and it's probably gonna be fine. No, like I'm gonna be playing Starfield for like 200 hours probably because of how much there is. It does look a little bit like No Man's Sky to me, in strictly with what they've shown, exploring planets and whatnot. I'm not like a fan of the third person mode. It's cool that they implemented that and put that in there, but like I'm not gonna be ever playing this game in third person. Like I will be like first person view the whole time, most likely.
Okay. Do you play Star Citizen that way?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I like to look at my armor sometimes when, in third person. But I didn't know if that bothered you or not, whether it's there and you want to see how it looks sometimes. I switch back and forth a lot, but go on.
I very, very rarely
Okay.
switch back and forth. And if I do
So
go
you're
into
gonna
third
play?
person,
Yeah.
it's
Go on.
only to look. It's only to look at my character. All right, that looks
Okay.
cool. Let me switch back to first person. Like I
Okay.
never but that I think that's my own preference. And it's my own opinion on how the game should be played. That's just a me thing. You know. So I won't be using a feature like that, so to speak. But um, yeah, no, I
Well,
mean, I think another thing too is because you know the, your input whether you're playing. I mean, obviously on PC or keyboard and mouse, you can do controller too, but there isn't anything like using flight sticks for when you're flying, most likely.
we don't know
Uh,
that. That's the thing. And I'm pretty sure there is eventually, even if it's not on day one, because there's mod. They already said that the modders is gonna just have at it. Modders already started up a page and a countdown, which if you will, when it comes to when they're coming out with their first mod soon, before the game is even out. So that's a thing to really think about when we talk about all the stuff they already showed us so far, and that's what's making me more excited. Not so much of what the vanilla game is. The vanilla game is definitely getting me excited. Don't get me wrong, but what the potential of all of those empty. I'll let you finish. I want to
yeah.
break this down.
Um, yeah. I mean, hey, if they add like flight stick support, like that will increase my experience like 100-fold. Like, because ever since Elite Dangerous died, you know, there's been a hole in my heart for like a space sim. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, if that is the case, my feelings on it will change immensely. But as it is now, like hopefully on controller they have the feeling down well for ship flying and ship combat. Because again, that's something Elite Dangerous did well too. Because I used to play on Xbox, and the the format and configuration of those flight controls on controller
Yeah.
felt really good. And if so it's like I can't see like another. Almost, it was so good I can't even see another way like outside of those configured controls for a controller, Eh, this is just like my opinions on it. I'm sure like playing controller with the ship is going to be fun, but I've already experienced something that to me felt like at the peak of greatness, right? so
Yeah.
so it's so it's like that's why like my hopes aren't up like that. It's sort of like, all right, well, I'm sure it'll be fun, but like I'm not gonna be so serious about it just because of all of those things. But and also, I mean, if it comes out with performance issues and bugs, and it's like that's also gonna be like, you know, dampen the whole experience. And I mean that's what to expect nowadays. Apparently, nothing can come out a finished product. But
Especially with Bethesda's track record. So I get that why you tempering your expectations. But yeah, I hear you.
yeah. So I mean that I think that's all the negativity I have. You know, so you can start producing the hype right now. Yeah, speak your piece, and
Well,
we'll end off on a positive note here.
I appreciate you rolling out the red carpet for me. But listen, it's not. First of all, the game. I'm excited for certain reasons. I'm not excited for everything that I am not. That I am looking forward to, because I know I'm not going to get everything I'm looking forward to. I'm excited for, I think what's mostly important is just the features that you get to do in the game that I'm really excited for. In the vanilla form of the game before mods even touch it. Even though there may be a small window, but I'm really excited for what they showed off so far. And the only thing I'm I'm crossing my fingers and I'm hoping that I'm wrong, and my expectations are not so, I'm tempering my expectations for this, and this only is the performance and the bugs. I am going to play it on PC. I am going to try it on Xbox, probably when I'm go to bed or whatever the case is. I don't know. But I'm going to main it on PC, obviously. It is ultra wide support. Thankfully, they announced that at least. I am I have a very beefy PC, obviously, with a 4090 and all. And I'm even with games that actually came out with problems like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, I was lucky enough not to have as much of a problem. Starfield is the only game that I am crossing my fingers to the point where I may come out with a pretzel that I can't untie, that I'm hoping that the game comes out in a much polished state as Todd Howard. Am I saying his name right? That Todd Howard is speaking of why they delayed it so much. The game is gonna have bugs. I cannot see this game have no games. I think feel like have zero bugs unless it's a very indie 2D title. But hopefully it's not Cyberpunk when it first came out, and I'm hoping that it's not No Man's Sky when it first came out and they just straight up lied. They showed off so much gameplay, even though they weren't connected. They showed off clips of different gameplay, not a one-to-one scenario of you actually getting your ship, traveling to another spot, getting out your ship and finding something, not connected. So there is clips, and I am keeping that in mind. But if they come out with the stuff that they showed at their presentation, the 45-minute presentation, I'm gonna be happy as is, and it'll be enough for me to at least start playing a game and being satisfied with what I'm getting. So that's why I'm so hyped for it. If they come out with what they showed, whether it's somewhat bad performance or not, and not buggy as Cyberpunk when it first came out, I am all in already, and I would like to remain that way. The game could still improve after a while. Obviously, like every other game these days, sad to say, this patching is like literally mandatory at this point. It's never a complete game in the market that we're in today. But for what they showed, I am really, really excited for. I already have a character in mind. I'm gonna name him Seymour Floodgates. No relation. And he is going to be an asshole, somewhat, to certain people in space. And he's going to take over space, or whatever they give us, hopefully, when it comes to taking over ships and whatnot. So let's talk about the features. I know we're going into like 50 minutes in, but granted, as much as I want to talk about the in-depths and all that stuff of the features, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Companions on your ship. Now, I know you skimmed through and seen pieces of the video, but you can have an all robot ship, companions on your ship. You don't have to have any human beings. He said technically, when he was asked that question, that was outside of the 45-minute showcase. You only have four romances, four romance options. Obviously, that's going to be modded. I really can't care less about the romance options being four. As long as I have some, it's fine. As long as the character's, well written. Again, mods is gonna save whatever this game falls behind short on. I fully believe. So people are still playing Skyrim to this day. So let's just get that straight. I'm not looking to lean on the mods too much, obviously. But I'm hoping that, like I said, everything they showed in the showcase was enough already. So I'm already excited for that. Moving on to your personality and background. In the beginning of the showcase, they showed you can pick a religion or whatever. Your background story actually matters. To what extent, I don't know, but it matters in the game. So if you're going through a space patrol, I say it's so corny. If you're going through like a traffic whatever stop in space, for lack of better terms, and the security tells you to hold up based on who you are, what religion you're behind, and what do they follow, what faction are they in, they'll let you slide by if you have contraband on board. They'll let you slide by based on if you follow the same if you're in the same faction or the same religion or whatever. That stuff matters. Again, to what extent, I haven't seen yet. Nobody have seen yet, but I'm hoping that it's very, very consistent throughout the game, and people can hate you too, based on your background story. They showed somebody running up to your guy, like the dude from Mass Effect in the Citadel in the first one. Like, oh, you're Commander Shepard? And he wanted your autograph. They showed that in the biggest city they said they ever built in the Bethesda game, which is New Atlantis, just because of your background, not because of something you did in the game, supposedly. Very, very excited for that stuff.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that too.
Please feel free to stop me and add when you're interested in what I'm bringing up.
Yeah, like that also stuck out to me. I was like, oh, okay, like, actually choosing my backstories matter. Because I mean, Mass Effect had that too, right? Where they had a colony, Earth from Earth, all that stuff. Like,
yeah,
but like it never really played like an integral role into like what you were doing in the present time. So to see that like affect your actual game like that is cool, and especially if it's not just like scenarios that don't always matter. It's like, oh, all right, yeah, like I got held up by pirates and we're of the same religion. It's like, we'll give you a pass, right? It's like, all right, that's cool, but like it would like to see it like sprinkled out like that, and then also like in moments that like matter, maybe
make it consistent.
Like a mission, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's like that. I really am, because there's a lot of personalities, obviously, in the universe, in this galaxy. I'm hoping, but yeah, make it consistent. I'm hoping they follow through that, and not just have it in the beginning of the game or whatever, like Mass Effect did. Before I get into shipbuilding, I'm just gonna say something else that wasn't in the presentation that he was asked on the interview after the showcase was done. He did say that 10% of the thousands of planets in this universe, and there is an Earth in this universe as well. There's the Milky Way. Well, I don't know about the whole Milky Way. Well, it has to be Milky Way if they're going to have Earth in it, but whatever. He did say 10% of these planets are going to be pretty much handcrafted somewhat, to a certain extent. And the rest is procedural generation. So it's going to have handcrafted components. I'm sorry. Living creatures, whether it is human, alien, whatever, it's going to be at least 10% of the planets. Now, when people first heard that, some people I watched on YouTube is like, oh, that's not even much. You got to think about it. 10% is a huge number. That's 100 out of 1,000. That is a lot of planets. Star Citizen has everything is handcrafted planets, but I think, what is it? I think it's only 110 or whatever planets. It's a lot. That is a lot. And for them to even say there's life on at least 10% of the planets and everything else, that's kind of more realistic if you think about it, because we don't know. There's not a lot of planets have life on it, at least from what we know of so far. So that's not out of the realm of ordinary. Again, granted, it's a game, I get it, but you're already gonna have like made up stuff in it. So I'm satisfied with what he said. Now, will it live up to that? I don't know until we actually play it, but I am satisfied with that, because you can still go into these empty, barren planets for components to build your base and stuff, and your ship, and your armor, and your guns. So, and it's guns customized, and it's pretty in depth. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. 10% is not a little number to me. If that's, again, if what he's saying is true. Shipbuilding is one of the biggest features I've been excited for in this game, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people that even don't even care for sci-fi games are in the mood to like try out. And I say try out because obviously this game is going to be on Game Pass. You don't have to buy it to try it out. As long as you have Game Pass subscription, you can try it out if you want to buy the full game. You can after. Shipbuilding looks incredible. for the parts that they're using in this NASA punk themed game, it changes the inside of how you get around your ship as well as the outside looks. You can have different bays and station within your ship that you can assign your AI to man or not, based on the parts of your ship that you build. You can have a very, very, very cozy little ship. You can have a very expansive. In the video, I don't know if you've seen it, they showed what looked like freight crates stacked on top of each other into the form of a Megazord. It looks like flying around.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's that's insane. The imagination. I would never do that, but that's insane. The imagination it lets you play with. It's like WWE creator, WWE 2K or whatever wrestling creator for like ships in a sci-fi game. It's crazy. I am gonna mess around with that a lot, and you can also alter and customize ships that you steal. Once you dock them into your whatever bay or nearest bay to register, you have to register the ships. I'm pretty sure there's a limit to it, but you have to register the ship before you get to customize it. And obviously customization, the parts is not going to be cheap based on what parts you're trying to pick. So that gives me something, a purpose to do and work for and do more, whether that's mining, whatever the case is, probing on different planets to get these materials and make money or whatever based on whatever mission I choose to pick. It's a lot. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say at least about the shipbuilding. Seymour Floodgates is gonna have a bunch of stuff going on in this creepy ship, that's for sure.
I've built myself a Mega 6LR.
A Mega 6LR?
XLR.
Oh, XLR. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh man, people are gonna start trying to make. They're gonna make. Well, man, the mods when modders touch that, you could throw out the whole the NASA punk theme. You're gonna have straight up ships from other games in here, obviously.
Oh yeah.
So they're gonna have fun with that.
But that's another thing too. Like, I know, like, Bethesda has a huge fan base and community of modders behind their games. I mean, and that's cool. But like, that's not like I don't think about what like the modders are gonna do with the game. You know what I mean? It's sort of like I only judge their games based on what they've put out themselves.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like, I haven't even really thought about that aspect and how, even if the game comes out in like a sorry state or something, and then the modders make it something even better, it's like, I'll probably end up playing it if that happens, right? It's like, but it's just interesting, it's just annoying, like, like why you gotta lean on like fan devs, you know what I mean? It's like that's why I'm really hoping they come out with a finished product and it's good, even without people having to mod the game, sort of like
I agree
with Skyrim, how there's just a plethora of mods for Skyrim and it's fun, and I've used those mods for Skyrim too, but like,
that's after, the vanilla.
It's like the vanilla experience,
that's why I said in the beginning before I started discussing this that it was going to be my hype is literally based on what they showed so far, and what they showed so far I think is enough to make the vanilla version of this game, if it delivers properly, worth it enough. The modders is just an icing on the cake to me at the end of the day. And I think that's a personal thing based on the player's experience and what they want in the video game. If they want to lean on the modders or not. But I think, to me, I'm looking at so far, even though the game didn't come out yet, we're like literally a month and a week away from the early access. Well, not early access. It is early access, but it's not early access. From the game releasing early in August 31st for the people that want to pay $80 or $100 on a special edition to play it 6 days early. Is it 6 days early? Whatever. I know it's coming out September 6th is the final date, but regardless, it's you get it a week early. But I'm stoked for the vanilla version of the game by itself. Moving on because we're passing an hour now. Gunplay, I think I briefly discussed a little bit with the customization without really discussing the actual ins and outs of it, and you can go see the video for yourself because I'm not going to do that here. But one thing I like to point out is when you're shooting in zero gravity, 0G, based on the weapons, based on the bullet you have in your gun, if it's ballistics, it's going to push you back in 0G, which is a crazy little but very massive detail to any gunplay game I've ever seen before, just off of that one little thing. And I'm sorry, I'm looking back because the cat, I have a cat here. I'm trying to make sure he's not doing nothing stupid. But yeah, the laser weapons is the only weapon. Sorry, the laser bullets is not really bullets, but if you're shooting laser rounds or whatever, those are not going to push you back, which is crazy. That is a very, very neat, realistic detail they added to the game, for the gunplay. And there's like a plethora of guns in this game, by the way. Ship flight and boarding enemy ships is pretty cool. It looks pretty cool because you get to board enemy ships, you get to blow them up and still loot them. Like if it was Black Flag. Was it Assassin's Creed Black? Yeah, Black Flag. When you blow up a enemy's ship and you just see like the loot in the ocean and you just press Y to grab it. You do the same thing in here in space, or you can actually dock a ship and kill the people inside of it and take it over and have your AI, I guess, take your ship back to whatever if it spawns. And you drive the enemy ship to the nearest docking station registered if you want to. We create crazy amount of freaking choices in this game. Just in the ship combat alone in space, and that's not even something they're known for, which is crazy. They are known for choices though, so I guess they're flexing it in space. Yeah, and that's pretty much the mechanics I wanted to point out. And I know there's mechanics I'm missing, but I'm pretty sure, I briefly went over base building, which is not something I really went over that much. You can build bases on different planets and have an AI, one of your teammates that you recruited. You can recruit people from different walks of life in this game, by the way. When you go on different planets and you meet them, you get to recruit them. And it's not just like main characters either. Like you can get to, it's like a lot of characters supposedly in this game. You could just recruit, whether they are in depth like that as much as the main characters or not. You still talk to them, you still can recruit them and station them in places wherever you build a base or your different ship or whatever the case is. You get to really have control of these AIs on a scale that hasn't been seen since, I don't know, what was it? RTS games? Halo Wars. Like it's just crazy how much options you have in a third person RPG game like this. And normally that option normally falls under a different genre. So being that you have it in here is a very, very big plus. But yeah, I'm gonna stop there. I know I do have more to say, but not as important. Not that I can actually come off the top of my head at the moment. But I know I have more to say when it comes to me. But I'm not gonna run that time as much as I run it so far, since we got other things to do today on a Saturday. But any last words, any last comments based on what we based on Starfield?
Well, checking out that showcase, saw what I saw. It has left me a little bit more excited than I previously was. So, I am looking forward to it. But as to before, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Now it has me a little bit more like, this is looking like something I do want to play like day one. Don't want to wait on it. I just want to jump right in. And that's if what they showed is what we get, right? Because what they showed looked great. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Told you I'm gonna end up with pretzels. I won't be able to play the game by the time it comes out. as much as I'm crossing my fingers. But yeah. I think I've said this to you before, but I was when I seen that presentation and when it was done, I left with the excitement that I felt like I had when Mass Effect 1 first came out, before it came out, and that feeling I had when I was racing to the nearest mom and pop store to buy the game for the 360. Physically, obviously, when physical media was more of a thing. But yeah, I haven't felt that excited for a video game in a while, a very long while. Even topping the previous excitements I had for like Cyberpunk and stuff. Like, it was really, really well done presentation. I think one of the best presentations I've seen from start to finish. Even though it was 45 minutes, it felt like an actual, like, everything they showed besides the merchandise was very well deserved, like with the timing they did. And then I think I heard this before in another YouTube video, but I do agree, like, if this doesn't come out half of what half of the stuff they showed, that was the best lie I was ever told. I don't think that statement could go under I don't think that statement could have been said even more if it does come out like Cyberpunk when it first came out. Like, this is a really, really good freaking showcase, and if you don't live up to your showcase that you put together, that's gonna be a heartbreaker, man. And I'm already tempering expectations for the performance side of things. At least do the story and everything else that you showed and put it in, like, at least have that in the game. Because I'm already not too excited and not too excited just yet until the game comes out, based on how the performance is going to be on a PC and the bugs and whatnot. Like, it has to be playable to me, obviously. And this is coming from a person that's been on Star Citizen for too damn long. Okay? Too damn long. I need help, and this game better come out the way they promised it and the way they showed us. Steve, thank you for coming on. And it's been too damn long since I did a podcast, and I appreciate the support from the other videos I put out in between the past couple podcasts. I've been doing other projects as well, even though they're still spaced out, but I appreciate the support, and I've been getting decent views on those PC port the Cyberpunk and the Star Wars conversations. So appreciate everybody who's joining.
Always a pleasure.
All right. Well, that's all we got for today. This is episode 13, and we're wrapping up and signing out. Thanks. If you like the content, subscribe, leave a comment for feedback. It's always welcome. And have a good weekend, guys. Take care.